My name is Mattias Jõesaar and I come from Tartu. Today I'm going to give you a little overview about the University of Tartu and our bachelor's programs. And first things first, of course, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what place Tartu is. So this is the overview of Tartu, quite literally. This is a view over Tartu. Right now we can, you can see the little river goes through it, and there's our old town, and also our university is just located over here. So Tartu is kind of a small place, actually, if you think about it. It's 100,000 inhabitants, more or less. But Tartu, in Estonian sense, is not a very small place. It's the second largest town, but it is also the student capital of Estonia. It is also known as the intellectual capital and the city of youth. Why it's a city of youth? The reason is very simple. About 1/5 of our population are actually students. So about 20,000 students live in a town of 100,000. So that is why Tartu may be the kind of an only student town in the whole of Estonia. But it's not only sort of hippies walking around. It's also home to many successful IT companies and startup companies like Playtech, Zero Turnaround, Moon Cascade, and Nortal, which are also operating in our little town. So Tartu, I think one of the key places in Tartu is our university, and I think that Tartu wouldn't be the place it is if there wouldn't be the University of Tartu, which you can see here on the picture. So some facts about the University of Tartu. Maybe if you have been listening to the previous webinars, you have had a brief overview of it, but University of Tartu is Estonia's oldest and largest university. It is the only university in Estonia that belongs to the top 2% of world's best universities. But it's not only located in Tartu, we have different colleges around Estonia. So we have a Department of Law in Tallinn. We have a college in Pärnu, which is more concentrated on hospitality and spa and wellness, because Pärnu is well known for its beaches and hotels and leisure. Narva College we also have for public administration and education studies. And Viljandi is where our College of Culture is located. So Tartu has about 14,000 students, and about 1,300 of them are international students. We have 4 faculties. We have the biggest library in Estonia, which contains more than 4.1 million items. We have university clinics. Actually, the University of Tartu Clinic is one of the largest hospitals in Estonia. We have museums, botanical gardens, and also University of Tartu has a Nobel Prize from 1909. Of course, you can see University of Tartu itself is one of the oldest universities in Northeastern Europe. It was established in 1632. So, but it's not only old, it's also sort of modern. In recent years, University of Tartu, we have been establishing some new buildings for top-notch machinery, top-notch classrooms, and so on. So it's not only new, it's not only old, but it's also old. So, for example, this is our Faculty of Medicine, where the medicine students can study. This is our library, and this is our botanical gardens that are also located in Tartu. So University of Tartu also owns the botanical gardens. But of course, if you would like to go and tour around yourself, you can just go on the website virtualtour.ut.ee, and then you can just go about the town and see all the buildings and you read a little brief history about them and what do they study over there. So there are different towns and different colleges also available. So University of Tartu is not only the oldest and the largest one, but in the Baltic states it's ranked as the top university in the whole of 3 Baltic states. The last university rankings, the internationally recognized, the most well-known rankings, put University of Tartu in the spots between 300 and 350. So it's also both for Times Higher Education World University Rankings and QS World University Rankings. But by these rankings by subjects, you can see which are more stronger areas, such as communication and media studies, and also medicine. And there are also quite up there in computer science and information systems. So University of Tartu is #1 in the Baltic states. So right now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the programs that we offer. But first things first, international students, where do they actually come from? International students mostly come from our neighboring countries. So Finland is #1. Finnish students tend to study medicine the most. Russia, Ukraine, India, Georgia, Latvia, and so on. So mostly from near Estonia, but also from faraway lands like India and also USA and Turkey. So University of Tartu offers 3 international study programs that is taught in English. So first one is business administration. So business administration is a regular 3-year program. It costs about 3,140 euros per year to study there, but we also offer some tuition waiver scholarships. So there are 25 students accepted every year, and 5 best applicants will receive a tuition waiver scholarship and would not have to pay for the studies. But what is this business administration all about? It is everything from business law to finance to marketing. There are company visits during the studies. The heads of companies come and give some practical lectures themselves. There are ways to build up business plans. So it's not only just pure economics or pure finance. It's also has a lot of practical value. And the students are actually expected to go through some internship during their studies. So it really helps them out. And of course, there are also some extracurricular activities such as Idea Lab or Marketing Club, where students can, take their ideas and put them into practice. So create some practical value because, entrepreneurship is something that is really valued over there. What do you need to do to apply there? Well, basically, you just need a high school education. The requirements are secondary education, which is high school education, and English language proficiency result. So English language proficiency, I will tell you a little bit more about it. But the secondary education, we would take a look at your final results in mathematics, and also we'll take a look at the motivation letter. So these are the 2 criteria on which we calculate the admission score upon. But of course, you can go to ut.ee/BBA and take a longer look at the admission criteria and the program itself. Now, the second program we offer is a program in science and technology, which also is a 3-year program. It costs 3,500 euros per year, and there are also tuition waiver scholarships for best applicants. But in this case, there are 10 tuition waiver scholarships offered to there are also 25 students that we take, and 10 of them will be studying for free. What are the requirements here? The requirements is a secondary education and English language proficiency test, as always. But also we will take a look at your final result in mathematics, and then you can choose which of the one is better for you. Is it biology, is it physics, or is it chemistry? And we'll take a look at the second best final result in that sense. But what does this science and technology program really mean? Well, it is a sort of a program where during the first year, you kind of still can figure out what you want to do. For example, in high schools, you don't really learn subjects like genetics. You don't learn such subjects like biotechnology or anything like that. So if you would go to study at the university to study genetics straight out from high school, you might be disappointed at some point. You didn't expect that. It might not be suitable for you. So during the first year, you can just come to study there, and you get a general overview of all the science and technology, different kind of specializations there are. There are genetics, there are robotics, and so on. So basically, if you think you're good at these areas, you're good in biology, good in physics, you're good in chemistry, you're good in mathematics, you can just come and then make up your mind once you had a little bit of glimpse of what these actually mean. So during the second year, you can choose your specialization. One of them is genetics and biotechnology, which is, this is mostly related to biology, and all the subjects are related to more into biology. The other one is bioengineering and robotics, which is more into engineering and so on, but it also does contain some biology classes. And the third one is mostly related to chemistry, but it's also material science and so on. So you can figure out which is your strongest area. Is it chemistry, is it sort of mathematics or physics, or is it biology? And just make up your mind. And also you can go and take a look at ut.ee/scitech. Now, the third program we offer is an integrated bachelor's and master's program in medicine, which is a 6-year program, as medicine programs tend to be. To this program, we don't offer any scholarships. The price is 11,000 euros per year. And to apply, you would also need to have a secondary education. You would need to finish high school. And you also need to do an SAT test in biology. There are 2 options in this SAT test. You can check it out, which one is more suitable to you. Is it E or is it M? Are you more into biology or chemistry? But you don't need English language proficiency to apply to this program, because the SAT test in biology pretty much tells us that you can speak English well enough. So there's also ut.ee medicine. So during the studies, you will, in addition to these regular medicine things, you know, physiology from surgery and everything else, you will also need to learn the Estonian language. Why? The reason is pretty simple, because as I mentioned before, University of Tartu owns one of the largest hospitals in Estonia, University of Tartu Clinic, and during the studies, the students should have some practical value in taking care of the patients that are in that hospital. So for that reason, you would need to know a little bit of the local language. So during the 6th year of the studies, it's the practice year. That practice can also be done abroad, like in Finland, for example. And after the graduation, students have a chance to either become doctor specialists in the residency program, or can follow up their academic career on PhD level. So what is the admission about? Well, the admission starts early January and will end on April 15th. The results will be made available by mid-June. You can apply through online system. You don't really have to send your documents in advance. What we have done here is that you should pretty much upload all of the documents, scan them in with all necessary details on them, scan them in. Don't need to send anything by post. Also motivation letter, and if needed, the English language proficiency. And also these translations into English and everything. So you would need to fill up all these documents, but you can just scan them and send them to us. Once we have picked out the students that we would like to admit to the university, we will send them the letters, and they would need to actually send the documents by physical post. So before that, it's not necessary. There is also no application fee. You could apply to different programs at the same time, also in different universities, because Estonian universities use the same Dream Apply system. Now, if there is a question, wait a second, April 15th, I still haven't finished high school, so what do I do? So no problem. You can apply with your most recent study results, and you can send your final results once they arrive in the middle of summer, for example. So that's pretty easy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the student life here in Tartu, because I mentioned before, University of Tartu is a student town. So basically, all international students, and actually also local students, will get a tutor, which is a local student that knows the local life pretty well, and they can just fill you in on like what's going on, where are things, where's the hospital, how can I order a cab, like help you out with these problems to help you settle in. Also, we have international student coordinators who will also help you out in everything you need. For more fun activities, there are Erasmus Student Network, which is very active in Tartu. They organize numerous events all year round, and actually sometimes it's the hardest thing in Tartu is to pick out the best party you want to go to. One other great thing about Tartu are the student days, which are organized twice a year. For me personally, I kind of prefer the spring student days because this is also when the traditional Walpurgisnacht is happening, in which the mayor of Tartu actually gives the power, his political power, he gives to the students for one night to celebrate. But he takes it back the next morning. But still, it's a very nice gesture and shows how the city of Tartu is truly a student place. And this is the spring student days are crazy. I will show you some pictures soon. But there are also various student organizations, like Idea Lab, which I also mentioned before, where you can test your ideas. There are different organizations in a sense that, like Robotics Clubs for robotics people, if you would study science and technology. The Robotics Club organizes these robots football competitions, and they actually go to these World Cups where the robots play against each other. And all other areas. There are so many different, study-based different clubs. University of Tartu also has a sports club where students can do their sports with a little bit of a discount, actually, and some things for free. Also, University of Tartu is has one of the best basketball teams, professional basketball teams in Estonia, which are also training there at the UT Sports Club. So this is one of the spring days. So we have a traditional boat race in our river, Emajõgi. So this is the traditional boat race that's happening, and there are thousands of people gathering around. And these boat races are usually not only about the speed and everything, it's also how funny you can make your little boat. These are the Erasmus Student Network parties. I think there's a pool party what's going on here. And these things happen all the time, even though you might think, okay, pool party, what Tartu is so much in the north, but we do have these, we have these proper pools around indoors as well, so don't worry about it. So these are also international ambassadors are some people you can contact with, and who are also organizing lots of events in Tartu. For example, on this picture you can see how they organize the Bachelor's auction, and they do a lot for charity as well. So here you can see how the other event in our river, which is sort of how they go to the river. So they have to build a sort of a machine which they can jump into the river. There have been so funny things there, but this is basically it. So that's how our student days, how they look like. So the river is a really important part of that. Okay, student life, but where do you actually live? You can live during the studies. We have dormitories. We have several dormitories, but most of our international students stay in this particular dormitory, which is about 5 minutes walk from the city's town hall square. So pretty much it's in the city center. Most of our international students stay there, and this is the cheapest option also to live in Tartu. You can always rent your own apartment, but this is the cheapest option. It's up to 120 euros a month. You can apply through campus.ee. There you can see other dormitories as well. There are 2 people sharing a room like this, and there are sort of 6 people in one apartment. So you would need to share the kitchen and the bathroom with 5 other people if it would be full. So there is Wi-Fi, there is parking, there's laundry, everything. So you can most of the students stay there because it's the cheapest, and actually also most fun option because all other students will be there as well. I mentioned international student ambassadors before, but these are our student representatives. you can contact them. You can find their profiles on this page, isa.ut.de. You can contact these people, and if you find maybe someone that is actually from your country, you can just ask very specific questions, how it was for her or him, how did he or she end up there, and what kind of things you might expect in Tartu. So you can just go. They will be very, very pleased to reply to any of your questions. But anyways, I think that's it from me. If you do have any questions about it, you have any further questions, I can recommend you to go to our email, studyinfo@ut.de. We have 3 people who will answer that. We will answer no longer than 48 hours after you ask your questions during weekdays. So we have people dealing with the questions, so you can just come and ask whatever you need to know, are the country-specific questions or program-specific questions or anything about Tartu. So we will really be pleased to answer any of them. So, but that's it from me. Just visit our website, and I hope that we will see you in Tartu in the near future. Thank you very much.